Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be installing a JLT Series 2. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be installing a JLT Series 2 cold air intake, and while I'm in there, I'm also going to install an AIRAID PowerAid Throttle body spacer as well. So just to give you guys a little bit of a background, in JLT's test, the cold air intake resulted in net gains of up to 15 horsepower and about 15 pound-feet of torque also, depending on whether the car is stock or tuned. Now, me personally, I haven't had this car on the dyno, but I expect to see about 6 or 7 horsepower increase because, as you all know, right now my car is stock. The throttle body spacer is also going to enhance low-end torque and throttle response. And I haven't installed my pedal commander yet, so I should be able to feel the difference these parts alone are going to make after the install. Also, fun fact, JLT is a local company in Chesapeake, Virginia, and they actually used my 2017 Dodge Charger RT to test the prototype of this cold air intake a few years ago. So, you can thank me for the Series 2 intake. Check out my shirt. And no, this video is not sponsored. So in regards to that, if you want to see the dyno test and results on my old car, I'll put a link in the description to our other channel. Now, getting started with the cold air intake, I'm going to need a few things. A ratchet, 8, 10, and 16 millimeter deep sockets, and I might need a few more tools as well. If so, I'll add an annotation. So let me go ahead and show you guys everything that came inside of the box. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. Alright guys, so I went ahead and unhooked the battery because we don't want those problems. So the battery has been unhooked. I'm going to go ahead and remove the engine bay cover as well. According to the instructions, you can either install the intake piece by piece, or you can go ahead and piece the entire group together and then install them all as one big happy family. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put everything together just to make it easier, and then we'll install it as one single piece. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove this. Oh, there we go. Whew. Alright y'all, so we got everything put together. This here is an oiled filter. So when you put it together, you can kind of feel like a little bit of residue. It's already oiled. It's also reusable. So you could actually remove this part and wash it. But the thing to keep in mind is if you decide to remove it and wash it, you have to let it dry completely, and then you will need to re-oil it. Everything's put together. So I'm going to set this to the side for a second so that I can remove the stock piece that is currently in the car. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove the stock pieces that are already in the car. I'm going to start with this little piece here. I'm going to just go ahead, you could just pull this right off. You want to loosen that up so that you'll be able to pull that off. There's a hose here, which you will just disconnect. It has a white part at the end. And then lastly is this bolt here. We need to remove this bolt. Once we get this bolt removed, we'll be able to remove the entire assembly from the car. Alright guys, so once you get this screw loosened up, make sure that you're very careful. We don't want to lose no screws. Ain't nobody got time to be chasing those screws around. So I have the screw out. I'm just going to sit it here. And now I'm just going to, boom, there we go. Just like that. So this is the old components. I removed that grommet, that rubber grommet from the old box and stuck it onto the new box. All right, and then also right here on the old unit, there was an Iat sensor. So I removed that sensor and I added it here on the new unit. So be very careful with this part. As you can see on the inside, the sensor is there. There's 2 screws. You just unscrew those screws. I set them up there for safekeeping because, again, ain't nobody got time. So remove those 2 screws and you can just kind of move the coolant tank out of the way. So now I'm going to position the box in the space where it needs to go. So It goes this way. You can see the openings. You just kind of line everything up. Alright, so I'm just going to line this up and screw it back in. It should line up just like the old one did. And you'll be able to see the cutouts in the bottom also. So I'm going to take my screw, the same screw that I pulled out of the old unit. I'm going to stick it in right here. Manually tighten it down a little bit. And then I'm going to just tighten this down. Alright, so that's on there. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do now is put the coolant tank back in place. Again, it's just a couple of screws. Gonna go ahead and put this down here. Got one screw here. Make sure it don't go nowhere, because that would be bad. All right, so now we got everything in there. All right, guys, so we have the new cold air intake box here. We have also replaced the coolant tank as well. We screwed those two screws back in. So now what we're going to do is move on to the throttle body spacer. Alright guys, so this piece here is the throttle body. There are 4 green screws that are connecting this. So what we're going to do is remove all 4 of those green screws and move this out of the way so that we can slide the throttle body spacer in there. Alright, so I'm just going to remove all 4. There's the first one. I'm going to set it right there. I'm going to come down here and get this one. Alright, and this is still connected, y'all, so I'm just going to sit it, I'm going to just set it up here so that it's not in the way. Alright guys, so here we have the throttle body spacer, and what we're going to do is insert it here, and we're going to make sure that we're lining these holes up with the 4 screw holes where those green screws were. So it does say AIRAID right here on the top. So that's kind of how I am going to line it up. I'm going to keep that up here on the top. So it's kind of like, it's a little bit off center, but it's all good. So I have my 4 screw holes here. Now we're not going to screw them in yet because we still got to put the throttle body back on. Also, you guys, this throttle body came with 4 black screws and washers because this green screw is no longer going to be long enough to screw on the throttle body and the spacer. So I'm going to move them green ones out the way and bring my black ones in here. Alright, so let me get this on. Boom. Now let me get this on. Boom. And so again, you want to line up the holes. It might be kind of tricky. You might have to kind of fish your way through. But for the most part, just try to hold it steady. Once you get one screw in, you should be okay. So I'm going to start with this one right here just because that's the closest one. So guys, this is a 8mm. I put the first one in. I did not tighten it all the way on because I want to make sure that I have them all lined up properly before I tighten them all down. Alright guys, so now that I have replaced all 4 screws, I'm going to go ahead and tighten them up. There we go. Alright guys, so what we're going to do next is install this little rubber tube here. The cold air intake actually comes with 2 of them. I'm going to use this one. As you can see, it says 2020 plus. So this is the one that I'm going to be using for my car. Of course, if you have a model that is, you know, if you have an older model year, then you would use this one. But for me, I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to remove this plastic white part and stick this in its place. So let's go ahead and remove that. Whoa. There we go. So I found it to be easier to bend it like that to get it out instead of just pulling it straight out. So now I'm going to insert this piece in its place. So now these clamps, we want to be facing up to make it easier. You want your clamps to be facing upwards because it's going to allow you easy access to screw it in. So I'm going to lay this down in here. And obviously this part right here is for the throttle body, which will be here. Alright, so I got that on the throttle body. This little gray piece that we disconnected in the beginning, we're going to plug in right here onto the sensor. It just snaps right on. Click. So guys, let me back up a little bit. This little piece, this hose that we just connected, there's a little lip here. We want to actually push this hose on all the way down to this lip. You can use oil to lubricate it, which may make it a little bit easier to get it on there, because otherwise you're going to run into some trouble trying to just push it in there. Alright guys, so I have this piece. I used a little bit of oil to you know, make it a little bit easier to go on. I have it pressed down all the way down to the lip. I have the intake positioned in there. I have it pushed all the way up, flush up against the throttle body. I have connected this little gray connector. I can see my screw here for the clamp that I'll need to tighten down this clamp. This hose is going to connect. There's a hose here on the intake. It's literally right here where my finger is on this curve. So I'm just going to connect this. I'm just pushing it on there. Push it all the way on there. So you guys can't really see that. Let me show you. Here's the piece right here. As you can see, I have pushed it all the way up against the intake. So here's the hose. Boom. You don't want any kinks in the hose, like any tight kinks. You don't want to restrict anything. So boom, boom, bam. Alright guys, so we have got the hose attached. We've got the sensor attached. You want to make sure there's no gap here. So it's pressed all the way up against the throttle body. So at this point, what we're going to do now is go ahead and tighten down all 3 of these clamps. Again, when you're putting this part together, you want to make sure that these screws are going to be facing up, because that's going to make it easier for you to tighten them down. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down. Last one over here. So again guys, I don't think y'all saw me the first time. You want to make sure that this thing is pushed down pretty flush where the filter is. You want to push it all the way down in the box as far as it'll go. You don't want it to be like sitting up or sticking up or anything like that, looking crazy. Alright guys, so we've got everything installed and put back together how it was. I've hooked the battery back up. So now all we need to do is replace the engine cover and start her up. So I got my engine cover here. I'm going to throw that bad boy on there. Let's see. Ugh. These 4, or these 3. Yeah, these 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can feel them clip down onto here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's put this back on. So, got this on. and we're ready to start it up. All right, here it is. The moment we've all been waiting for. Me specifically, because I'm tired and my back hurt. And my bun falling apart. Here we go. Alright guys, so the install is complete. I've got everything put back together. We have started it up, listened to it a little bit. We have the before. And then here's the after. So definitely here's some difference, especially with that throttle body spacer. Keep in mind the throttle body spacer is a separate mod. It's a whole separate product than the JLT cold air intake. The two were ordered separately. So if you order just the cold air intake and you do not get the throttle body spacer, then of course you could skip that install portion or that portion of the install. And also know that you won't have that whistle sound like I have on the, like when you rev the engine. So keep that in mind. Overall, it was a fairly easy install. Really just follow the instructions. The hardest part of the install is definitely getting that tube, because it's meant to be a very tight fit. So without oil, it's almost impossible to get it on there. So but just a little oil for lubrication and you won't have too much trouble. Other than that, pretty simple install. I am happy with the overall. I'm actually about to take it out for the first test drive. I'm gonna have the GoPro in the car so you guys can hear it a little bit. I'm gonna leave the baby home so that I can really test drive. I'm gonna redo my bun because I went a little crazy up in here. So yeah, let's do our test drive. Alright guys, so let me get out of the driveway. Try not to hit Ali's car. So for the beginning half of the drive, you guys, I'm going to leave it in normal drive mode. And then on the way back home, I put it in sport to see if I notice any difference. So, alright. Ready? Jeez! Y'all, what the heck? Y'all, jeez. Good night, y'all. Almost took my bun off. Y'all can't even see my bun. Great day. Let's do this again. Ready? Whistle, y'all. I'm trying to be careful because sometimes there be cops on this road, and although I'm not speeding, I would hate for them to hear the car and assume that I was speeding or that I am speeding. So let me get on this back road and test it out again, and then we're going to throw it in sport mode and see how it sounds in sport. At all. So I'm gonna go down a little bit more and then I'm gonna throw it in sport coming back up, because that's the turn to the house and we ain't ready to go home just yet. We're not ready to go home quite yet. So every time I hit the gas, I hear the whistle of the throttle. It's like a whoop, whoop. It's like a little poop. It's like a little poop. Alright, so I'm gonna come down here and turn around. And I'm gonna throw it in sport. Alright, y'all, I got it in sport. Let me get this 300 out the way. No, that's not Ali driving, because they would have been gone. Alright, ready? Let's go. Why are you braking right now? Really? Yeah. It's not bad, y'all. It's not bad at all. It's really not. Like, gang. Let me go home, y'all, for these folks called law on me. Y'all, I'm satisfied. Once again, I told y'all, you can thank me for this joint. So, obviously, I'm going to be impressed with it, just like I was before. Now, the last time on the 2017, I did not have the throttle body spacer. So, now I have the cold air intake and the throttle body spacer. Shout out to Ali, because this is actually my Mother's Day gift. And it was a gift for y'all, because y'all got to see me install it. This was my first actual install, so I certainly hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy seeing this install, please make sure that you throw me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you can be notified each and every time we post a new video, which we have some other parts coming in very soon. We'll be installing those and doing a video as well. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good night. A JLT Series 2 cold air intake and so just to give you let me see if I can do like this. That these parts are going to make alone. Yep, that's good. I'm surprised Ali didn't run and put his car in the garage as soon as I pulled out. Because that's usually the first thing he do. Loves the garage, honey. See if I can. The throttle body spacer is also going to enhance low end torque and throttle body risk. They actually used my 2017 Dodge Charger to test the prototype of this cold air intake. Shoot, that was perfect. What is an intake? Okay, so the battery has been unhooked. What I'm going to go ahead and do now, I'm just going to remove, oh Lord, I'm tightening. Hold on.